Well, in 2018, I was put to the test when I learned about the harms that childhood injections were causing on children and my role in administering them in the NICU. I started speaking out about them, along with food and plant medicine and holistic health. My College of Nurses of Ontario wasn't too happy about me speaking out about these things and brought me in to give me a slap on the wrist. At this point, I was not ready to lose my license, and I decided to say, "You're right, I'm wrong," and walk away, and said I wouldn't speak about these things on social media or with colleagues or anywhere else again. But I told them if they ever come after my children or try and mandate anything on kids, that there's nothing that's going to stop me from speaking out. I just didn't think it was going to be so soon after this had already just been wrapped up in 2019. Here we were in 2020, the biggest PSYOP that took place. And I found that I was speaking out once again for the children, against the masks, the lockdowns, and all the harms that I was seeing being caused on children, as even 6-year-olds were telling me that they hated their life and even trying to pretend to cut themselves and kill themselves. There was nothing that was going to stop me from not speaking up, and as a mother, I was not going to sit idly by and let these harms take place. So I spoke up, first at City Hall, about the masks on children, which led to something else, which led to something else. And throughout 2020 and 2022, I found myself in the front lines of everything going on as a public figure, standing up face to face with even officers, with all the tyranny and everything that had been taking place in our country. I didn't set out to become a warrior, but our children bring it into our hearts, and our children are everything. So after speaking out in 2018 against childhood injections and getting in trouble with the college, I swore I wouldn't do it again until 2020 came along. In 2020, I became a voice speaking up against the harms that were happening to children. And I organized with a friend a freedom rally in our hometown. I was aware of what was going to happen to my job, that there was consequences of possibly losing my job, about what could happen with colleagues, friends, relationships, but what I was naive to was what the media was going to do. And the media destroyed my reputation with the headline, "LHSE NUC nurse puts premature babies at danger." And they were the very beings that I was standing up for. Never would I want to put them in danger. They were the reason why I was speaking up, to protect them. So after having my reputation destroyed, my character dragged through the mud, I was placed again under investigation by the College of Nurses, and I was suspended indefinitely. At that point, I found other nurses speaking out, and I traveled to Washington, D.C. with another Canadian nurse, along with 6 other American nurses, and we spoke on a health and freedom stage on January 6th in Washington. I had little idea of what was going on in the political atmosphere at that time, but we found ourselves wrapped up in what would now be known as the insurrection. And we were terminated upon returning to Canada. We were immediately terminated, placed again under another investigation, and we were deemed domestic terrorists. And we had the RCMP come to our house to ask about our involvement in the rioting and the storming of the Capitol. And universities are still teaching about me to this day about what not to do. So I lost my nursing job. I was terminated in January of 2021. And to me, it was the biggest blessing that ever happened to my life. The more I started learning about health and wellness, the more I started learning about our children, the more I started learning about how we need to protect them, how to create healthy, vibrant, thriving children. It was not found in the sick care system that I was participating in. But those golden handcuffs were hard to leave, and every time I tried to, I kept being called back. And so this was God's way of telling me, this is not where you belong. So I will burn this bridge so you cannot go back. You can only move forward. And so I am so thankful for the journey that I have been on. I am so thankful for the resilience, for the strength, for breaking me into 1,000 million pieces and putting me back together so I could be here today with you. And so whatever it takes, wherever that leads us, it looks different for everyone. You don't need to stand up and be a public voice. The most important place to become your own warrior is actually in your own heart, in your homes, and in your community. So throughout this experience of standing up to the tyranny, standing up and being a voice, I'm here to help you find yours and to reclaim your power and reclaim your voice where you can be your most vulnerable but also your most powerful.